What is up, guys? This is Matt from Hanley Gaming, and these are the free PlayStation Plus games for December 2021. First up, we've got Mortal Shell. Now, you can tell that this game is inspired by Dark Souls, but it seems much slower and less responsive. You play as some type of being that takes over the bodies of fallen warriors, Men in Black style. And then you do things such as play the lute very poorly and die a lot. The combat takes quite a bit of getting used to. The movements are very slow compared to your enemies, and you've got to either dodge or block or parry or harden your body, but sometimes the enemies that you're fighting get through all that, so you have to dodge out of the way because the attack's unblockable. Now, the combat itself is very unforgiving. Aside from like a 5-minute tutorial, there's not much it teaches you in terms of different ways of fighting enemies. Another thing that I didn't really like about this game was when you get items, it doesn't tell you what the item does. You have to use the item before you know what it does. And some of the items that you pick up, if you use them, it will actually damage your health. So I died a couple times just from using items, which is frustrating. When you die, you keep the items that you have on you, but you lose all of your tar. So tar is the currency of the game, and it's used to upgrade your character. So losing all of your tar just because you died is very frustrating, and all of the enemies that you have killed all respawn when you die. So you have to go through everything you've went through all over again. So out of the 3 offerings on PlayStation Plus this month, Mortal Shell is my least favorite. Alright, the next game we've got this month is Godfall Challenger Edition. Now, this is also for PS4 and PS5, and it's not the complete game of Godfall. It is only the endgame content. It doesn't really explain the story very well. You see a little bit of a cutscene at the beginning where there's, a battle between him and his brother and their armies, and then you're in the end game. It doesn't really explain anything right off the bat that I've noticed. You start off at max level, you have to fight through, I did one of the towers, you just fight a bunch of enemies. I will say that I like the combat better in this than Mortal Shell. It is faster paced, it is more responsive, and there's multiple types of weapons that you can use. There's, long swords, dual swords, the heavier blunt weapons like warhammers. So there's different types of weapons that you can use, and they each have their own style and their own movesets. So the combat is good in this game. There's just not a whole lot to do. So I played this game for about an hour, but I turned it off. I didn't get into the multiplayer. Even though there is a lot of variation between the fighting styles that you can use, there's not much variation in gameplay, if that makes any sense. It's just go in this area, beat up a bunch of people, go to the next area, beat up a bunch of people, and it's very close to a looter shooter, only melee instead. So it's like, if you think of The Division, where you have these weapons, you go into an area, you defeat enemies, and then you pick up the loot, and it's the same weapon, only with better stats. It's a lot like that. There's not a lot of variation in weapons. So yeah, there's different fighting styles, but not much variation in gameplay, and it's because with it being only endgame content, you're not getting the story portion. A lot of times I like playing a game because of the story, and there's not much of that in here. So much of the endgame is just doing different missions and crafting Valor plates, what that is, I have no idea. I'm guessing that's for matchmaking. Again, I'm not really sure. I didn't do any matchmaking, so maybe there's more with that, but again, I can't be 100% sure. I enjoyed this game more than Mortal Shell, but still, I didn't have a lot of fun with this game. So this month, those two games, both Godfall and Mortal Shell, I think are kind of misses, but the next game, let's look at that now. And that last game would be LEGO DC Supervillains. Now, instead of LEGO Batman, where, you know, you're the hero of the story, you're playing as villains. And the first thing I noticed when playing, there were a few things. You know, you make your own character and play with them, as well as a bunch of different DC supervillains. There's a lot. You unlock them as you go. And right off the bat, you use Lex Luthor. And he's voiced by Clancy Brown. And Clancy Brown, he is the voice actor for the drunk police partner in Detroit Become Human.
Look human, sound human, but what are you really?
And the other big name that I noticed was the best Joker, when you unlock him, Mark Hamill.
No, it's not here! It's not here!
So, just like any other LEGO game, you go through, break all the objects to collect the LEGO pieces, and you just go through the story. And I actually had a lot of fun with this game. I found it quite enjoyable. I will keep this on my console. I'll continue to play it. It's fun to play with the kids. When you have another controller and you press the options button, it does become two-player, which is good for when you have kids or someone who wants to play the game with you. So it is the only couch co-op game on this month's offerings. But yeah, so LEGO DC Supervillains, by far better than the other two offerings this month. And I'll leave it at that for this video. If you like this video, remember, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.